Hello guys, this is Literally by Pavi. Today we are focusing on Unit 2 Poetry, a key area in UGC NET syllabus. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can't miss any notification of my upcoming videos. Without any further delay, let's jump into the video. What is poetry? A type of literature that uses language to evoke emotions and ideas in a creative and imaginative way. It often uses rhythm, rhyme, structure, and vivid imagery. The types of poetry: narrative, dramatic, and lyrical. Elements of poetry. The core elements makes a poetry more powerful. First one is rhythm. It is a beat of poem. Rhyme. It is a repetition of sounds. Alliteration and assonance is using the similar sounds and words. Next, imagery. Imagery creates an visual effects in reader's mind. Diction is a choice of words for the particular kind of poetry. Next, stanza forms. The forms of poetry. The key forms of poetry are many. The first one is sonata. Sonnet is a 14 lines poem that often focuses on love. Petrarchan, Shakespearean, Miltonic are the kinds of sonata. Ode is a poem that praises a person or event. Epic is a long poem that about a heroic person. Elegy, it is about a loss of someone or something. Free verse and blank verse, there is no fixed rhyme or rhyme for this kind of poetry. Ballad, it narrates a story in a form of poetry. Satire, it is a poem that often mocks that humorously. Horatian, Juvenalian, and Manipan are the kinds of satire. Stanza types. Chaucerian stanza is also known as rhyme royal. Actually, he introduced the rhyme royal to the English literature. 7 lines in iambic pentameter with A B A B B C C rhyming scheme. It often deals with a moral theme. For example, Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida. Next, Ottava Rima. Ottava Rima is originally used in Italian ethics. It was used for both serious and light-hearted themes. It has 8 line stanza A B A B A B C C rhyming scheme. For example, Lord Byron's Don Juan. Next is Spenserian stanza. It was named after Edmund Spenser. 9 lines, 8 lines in iambic pentameter, followed by Alexandria, 6-foot iambic rhyme with A B A B A B C B C C rhyming scheme. It enhances the poem by its own rhythm and structure. It has special music effect. For example, Edmund Spenser's Fairy Queen. Next, the history of poetry is in English literature. The oldest poetry is strong alliteration. Beowulf and Battle of Maldon celebrating the bravery in battle. The Wanderer, the Seafarer, the Wife's Lament. It's a great elegy. It expressing the themes of loneliness and life. Middle English poetry is often influenced by Geoffrey Chaucer. Other poems like wisdom, religious poetry are also praises of God. Cadman is one of the poetry that published in Middle English period. Next is Chaucer age. Chaucer age is marked by several political and social economic changes. England was affected by plague and 100 years of war, which led to labor shortage and economic shift. There is many religious conflicts are also happened. Taxes were high, that leads to peasant revolt. In 1381, Geoffrey Chaucer's lifetime, 1342-1400. She was known as the father of English literature and the father of English poetry. His literary career is divided into 3 periods: French, Italian, and English. The first 30 years are called French period. Initially, he translated the works of French. The next 15 years are under Italian influence. He worked as a diplomat and a man of affairs. The next 15 years are under English period. It's the time of Chaucer's richest development, and he wrote contemporary tales in that period. Next is the age of revival. Literature of this age began to explore the themes of humanism and embrace new forms like pastoral elegy, ballads, satires, and didactic poetry. Italian sonnets by Petrarch are introduced. English sonnets form developed later by Shakespeare. Important poets of the age of revival are Thomas Huxley, John Lydgate, Stephen Hawkes, and John Skeleton. The Scottish Chaucerians are James I of Scotland and William Tunbridge. Scottish Chaucerian means the Scottish people who are influenced by the writings of Chaucer. Next, New Court poets. Sir Thomas Wyatt and Henry Hogarth, Earl of Surrey, introduced and redefined the sonnet form in English. Next, the Elizabethan poetry. Elizabethan poetry was flourished during the period of Queen Elizabeth. Her period was called as the golden age of literature. The poetic forms like Elizabethan song, courtly poetry are introduced. Sonnets in the both form of Shakespearean and Petrarchan are flourished. Spenserian stanza. Sonnets by Edmund Spenser are flourished. Important poets like Edmund Spenser, Michael Tarleton, Samuel Daniel, and Thomas Chapman. Each of them contributed in unique way of the literature. Next, Puritan Age. Literature had reshaped in this period because of its strict religious and political rules. Poetry of this era was diverse with the several classification of poetry. Number one is Spenserian poets. Phoenix Fletcher, Giles Fletcher, George Wither, William Brown, and William Termett called Edmund Spenser as their master. Cavalier poets. 17th century English royalist poet. Writing primarily about courtly love and called Sons of Ben after Ben Jonson. They wrote the lyric poems celebrated courtly themes of beauty, love, nature, sensuality, honor, social life. For them, poetry means carpe diem. Next one is metaphysical poets. Metaphysical poets wrote the themes of love, religion, soul, and etc. They were against Petrarchan consider. The essential characteristic of metaphysical poets are undissociated sensibility. That means the combination of feelings and thoughts. The important metaphysical poets are John Herbert, Richard Casher, Henry Vaughan, and Andrew Marvell. Other important poets are John Milton, Edmund Spenser, William Davenant, Sir John Denham, and Abraham Cowley. John Milton's The Great Epic Poem Paradise Lost was published. Restoration poetry. The poets of Restoration Age are John Dryden and Samuel Butler. John Dryden published Macbeth. Neoclassical or Augustan Age. Graveyard poetry movement. Graveyard poetry is also known as churchyard school. Odes like Pindaric and Horatian Yeats are published. Important poets of this age: Alexander the Pope, Edmund Young, Samuel Johnson, Thomas Gray, and Robert Burns. Alexander Pope's The Rape of Lock was published, an elegy written in a country churchyard in a famous elegy written by Thomas Gray. In this period, poets emphasized the subject of death, temporality of life, and sorrow in their works. In this age, people go back to the classic literature. Next, Romantic Age poetry. Romanticism emphasized passion over reason. They focused on emotion and inner life of an author. They saw nature as a god, a teacher, a source of infinite beauty. Major poets of period: William Blake, William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, and John Keats. William Wordsworth and Cecil Coleridge together published lyrical ballads. Then John Keats' odes are celebrated for its beauty and sensuality. Poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings resulting from emotion collected in tranquility. This is a famous quote by William Wordsworth. They revolt against the modernity and support rustic life. It is also the age of revolution. Victorian poetry. Victorian period saw the enormous changes occurred in political and social life in England and rest of the world. The scientific and industrial revolution happened. The emergence of modern nationalism emerged in that period. Far-reaching new ideas created the greatest outpouring of literary production the world has ever seen. Oxford movement, aesthetic movement, pre-Raphaelite brotherhood are emerged. The Victorian age is often divided into three phases: the early Victorian age, mid-Victorian, and later Victorian phase. Dramatic monologues are emerged in that period. The important poets of Victorian age are Alfred Lord Tennyson, Robert Browning, Matthew Arnold, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Christiana Rossetti, and Rudyard Kipling. Modern age poetry. It emerged in earlier 28th century and it has a departure from traditional poetic form and topics. It reflects the attitude and culture of the 20th century. Realism, pessimism, love, and nature, often with humanitarian or dramatic tone. The important poets of this age are William Butler Yeats, Thomas Stearns Eliot, W.H. Auden, Taylor Thomas. Contemporary poetry. Contemporary poetry deals with the strong imagery, free form, and simple and direct expression. It has inconsistent meter. It was controversial or it has open-minded themes. Important contemporary poets are Charles Stanley, Thomas William Gunn, Ted Hughes, and Hugh MacDermid. American poetry. In American poetry, poets like John Greenleaf, Walt Whitman, Henry Longfellow explore the themes of nationality and the human condition, while later poets such as Sylvia Plath, Adrian Rich, delved into feminist themes and personal struggles, making lasting impacting on American literature. Then Indian poetry. Indian poetry is known for its use of rich imagery and metaphor and symbolism to convey complex emotions and ideas. It often incorporates elements of nature, mythology, and religion, reflecting the cultural and spiritual heritage of India. The early Indian poets are Toru Dutt, Kamala Das, Sarojini Naidu, Nasumisikal, and Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore is the first Indian to receive Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. The contemporary Indian poetry are Chayanta Mahabatra, Arun Kolatkar, and A.K. Ramanujam. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Just focuses the types, forms, elements, and historical progression of the poems. Get yourself familiar with the major poets and their style. Practice how to analyze the poetic elements. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys.